Coach Corey from LiberatedPerformer, and in this video we are going to cover 10 things that you can tell yourself before you walk into an audition or on stage. So let's begin. The first thing that you should tell yourself is that you deserve to have success. Now, often before we walk into an audition or on stage, we start to doubt ourselves, even though we've successfully ran through our pieces how we wanted to in the practice room or even for the public before. But if you're having those thoughts of self-doubt, make sure to just tell yourself, no, I deserve to have success. The second thing you can tell yourself is that you accept yourself and love yourself for better or for worse. Now that sounds like a marriage vow, and it kind of is. It's a dedication and loyalty to making sure you love yourself no matter what happens. You go on stage, you mess up, you still love yourself. You go on stage, you play great, you still love yourself. The third thing to do is to tell yourself, I validate my music. Now this is important because when we're in the setting of an audition and we look out and there's maybe like 3 or 5 judges determining the outcome of our audition, we naturally want to seek their validation. Or same thing on stage. We go out on stage and we see, thousands of people. We want their appreciation and applause. Of course, we want to naturally seek their validation. But what that does is it takes away from our performance. So we can't do that. So you have to validate how you're going to play technically, artistically, your charisma. You have to validate all the work that you have done in the practice room and then go out on stage. The fourth thing to tell yourself is that I am going to play from a place of self-expression. Now, often I talk about the difference between analytical mode and performance mode, right? Analytical mode is where you're thinking logically, you're in the practice room figuring out ways to improve sections, and then performance mode is just all of that expression, the self-expression of the characters of the music, and it switches like that, right, real fast. But it's all coming from a place of self-expression, and that's key because that's ultimately what's going to translate and communicate authentically to the audience. The fifth thing to tell yourself is to play with extreme conviction. So we just talked about performance mode and how we play from a place of self-expression, evoking the musical characters, embodying the musical characters, and we want to make sure we're committing to it 100%, right? There's times where we walk on stage and we're kind of half committed to the musical characters, and it's fine, but it's not your best performance, because when you're actually performing with extreme conviction, which you need to be, then you're communicating clearly to the audience, and you're communicating clearly to the judges so they really feel what you're going for. The sixth thing you should tell yourself is to get over your self-image, right? For example, when I walk out on stage and I'm playing Bach and then I feel self-conscious, oh, I'm out of tune here, or oh, this phrasing, I don't know if people will like this phrasing. You have to get over your self-image, right? It's okay to get embarrassed, and most importantly, performing is not about you. Okay, I mean, especially in Bach, right? When you're performing Bach, it's about playing for God. I mean, talk about a higher cause, right? What is your higher cause when you're playing? It's certainly not to, develop your self-confidence. Like, that's not the point of walking out on stage. So the point of walking out on stage is to make music, right? So I question to you, what is your higher cause and what is your higher purpose for playing music? And that's kind of a deep question to take on, but it's very crucial to have that more spiritual and philosophical outlook and decision about how you want to perform and what it means to you. The seventh thing you should tell yourself is that I am going to dictate the environment. Often what happens, we go into an audition and there's a bunch of judges and they're determining the outcome of the audition. So we change our behaviors and even our identity, right? But we can't be doing that, because remember, when we walk on stage, we are dictating the environment. People are listening to us. They are ready to be moved by our emotions and characters of the music. So make that perspective shift, make that identity shift that I am leading these people and I am the leader in this moment, even though fundamentally you have no control over the audience's reactions or the judge's reactions. The eighth thing to tell yourself is that I am successful once I walk on stage or once I walk into that audition. Now, it's a little secret I use, and it's amazing because oftentimes we build up crazy expectations that we can never hit. For example, perfectionism, right? And when we have these crazy expectations for ourselves, all it does is create self-pressure, and then we mess up in the moment. But for music and performing, right, we don't want to feel that pressure. We want to feel free. We want to feel liberated to perform the way we do. So what I do is I severely lower that bar of success to the point of when I walk out on stage, I am totally successful, and whatever happens after that happens. Same thing with an audition. I walk out on stage, and that is my pure definition of success. The ninth thing you should tell yourself is that your self-worth is not based on the performance. Now, this is a huge trap that people always fall into, right? They go out on stage, they play poorly, they go off stage, and they think negatively about themselves. Or also a similar mistake is going on stage, playing well, walking off, and then feeling good about themselves as well. And this is a mistake because we should not identify with our experiences on stage like that, right? I mean, that will not give you that inner peace or that inner confidence or self-esteem to succeed, right? Our self-worth, especially as a human being, right? When we walk out on stage and we mess up, we're no less of a human being than we were previously to walking on stage, right? People mess up, it's just a thing, but it doesn't define you, and you can't form an identity out of those past potentially traumatic experiences of really messing up on stage or doing something really embarrassing on stage, right? You simply can't do that. So again, your self-worth as a person is not based on your performance. The last thing you should tell yourself is to enjoy your performance and be grateful for this opportunity. And this one comes from my teacher, Ani Kavafian at the Yale School of Music, who always told me to just enjoy performances and be grateful of the opportunities, because ultimately these experiences are very rare for people to have. I mean, we are so lucky to be in this position of even auditioning, having the chance to win something or to get an opportunity, maybe like in an orchestra or in a chamber group or whatever you're auditioning for, and also in a performance setting, right? To play for people, to move people with music, to make a statement, to make an artistic statement, a profound experience, to create love, joy, hate, anger, aggression, so many types of different emotions that we can evoke with our music. I mean, that's a very powerful place to be, also a very respected place to be, and one that we should truly cherish, because ultimately careers, they begin, they develop, they get to a certain point, and then they start to fade away. And before you know it, all those experiences are gone. And if you're living way too in the future or way too in the past, right, you cannot enjoy this moment. And ultimately, when we are performing, right, because trust me, I'm a practical guy. I'm thinking about the future. I'm thinking about how the past affected me and like how I can change things. But when performing, right, to truly be in that moment, we actually perform a ton better, right? You don't get nervous, you're focused, you're spontaneous, you're vulnerable, you're confident, you have a high self-esteem, and it's truly a magical moment. And for us to have that experience, we are truly lucky to have. So switching that perspective is very crucial to getting you in the right kind of performance mode. All right, so those are 10 things that you can tell yourself before you walk on stage or in that audition, but we at Liberated Performer absolutely know that if it was that easy, then we wouldn't have any training programs to help people with auditions, because even if you tell yourself things, it might not change things, right? You might still be nervous, you might still be freaking out, or you might mess up on stage. And for that, we have tons of other practical solutions to offer you. So I encourage you to check out our other videos, especially the pre-performance routines that you can easily implement. And those pre-performance routines aren't like the ones you find on Google, where it's, like a quick hack, that, suddenly cures all. No, it actually starts a couple days before, talks about the day of, and then moments right before you walk on stage. So check out those other strategies as well. Anyway, thanks for listening, and I'll catch you in the next video. If you have any questions, please comment below. Make sure to subscribe to our channel for the latest updates, and visit LiberatedPerformer.com if you want to learn more about how to be a great performer.